Hey, what's up everybody? Jamie Bunn, Fish Bluewater. So today's video, we're gonna be talking about and targeting what I feel is the #1 thing to success in fishing, and that's bait. So we're here in Pompano Beach right now. We're getting ready to head south to Miami. We're looking for some scaled bait. Primarily gonna be looking for Pilchards and Thredfin herring. If we get lucky, maybe some sardines. So ride along with us, and we're going to show you a few things along the way as far as tips and techniques for catching these types of bait. All right, so we made it down here right outside of Port of Miami. We're here at a popular spot, if you look this way, called the Bent Range Marker. And swing around here, take a look at this screen. We're in about 22 feet of water. Right now, we're trying to catch some Thredfin herring. Generally, there'll be a kind of a mottled mark in the middle of the screen here. Typically, they're up off the bottom about halfway. And we've already caught a few, so we're going to give it a shot here, and we'll get some on camera for you. Okay, rod tip up, grab your lead. Now what we're doing here, Thredfin herring are a really delicate bait, so you got to be very careful about how you dehook them, how they go into the well, how many you keep into the well, etc. like that. How you doing, Bray? So we've got two 100-gallon wells here on the deck. Basically with Thredfin, because they're a very delicate bait, although we have a great Livewell system in this 39 CV, there is absolutely no better bait well for catching bait and transporting bait than these 100-gallon rounds. So that's why we have them above deck. We'll show you the plumbing system a little bit later as far as how we got that set up. But we're gonna probably keep no more than about 100 to 10 dozen, 120 in each well. Give them plenty of room, keep them comfortable, and you know, we've got a 35-mile ride home when we're done, so I'm gonna try and fill these with some Thredfins first, and then we'll move on to the next species. You want to lay this line out, your rod out really flat so that the baits hang away from the actual rig. So if your rig is straight up and down like this, the baits lay against it, it rubs against them, they start to get burn marks on their side, and no good for the bait. Woo! Got a little Quad City knock here. Beautiful baits. Beautiful baits. Get that rig sideways, hold that lead straight in your hand from the bottom, and we're ready to go again. So half the battle is having really good equipment and technology. I mean, as you can see, look at this mark right here. We are just covered up on Thredfin right now. These are nice ones too, nice big jumbos. So talking about the bait rigs we're using for a minute, I've got each rod rigged up with some different size rigs, number 4s, number 6, and number 8s. Sometimes the baits get finicky, you know, you may need to drop down to a smaller hook size like a number 4, but if you can get away with the larger hook sizes and they're biting, that's what you want to use, because typically the larger hooks, they stay on the rig better. We're actually using a fluorocarbon Hayabusa sabiki rig right now. Fantastic rig. They are a little on the pricier side, but I will say if you're looking for a good economical option that's very comparable to these Hayabusas, we don't have any on the boat right now, but Offshore Angler also makes a fluorocarbon rig that works really well, and it's about half the price. All right, so let's talk about the rods, the terminal tackle for a second. So for the most part, when we're doing this, you know, I like to fish a 7 to 8 foot rod, which right now I've got 7 footers, got some new 8 footers being made. Typically want to go light on your line test, anywhere from 6 to 12 pound test. Obviously we talked about the kind of bait rigs we're using, number 4, 6, and 8. Fluorocarbon is definitely a must when you're fishing for these Thredfins. And again, just an appropriate size spinning reel for anywhere from 8 to 12 pound tackle. Makes it a lot easier to feel and see those bites, and keep the baits on as well when you're not using a rod that's too stiff when you're trying to catch these baits. So tide is everything with bait as well. Right now we're at the tail end of outgoing tide. Tide's starting to trickle off a little bit. So the baits aren't biting quite as good, getting a little bit more finicky, but we're gonna keep fishing them and see what happens. Numbers add up fast when there's 4 of them hanging on a rig or more. If you really want to get ambitious and you get good enough at de-hooking and handling the bait rigs, you can double up a rig, but it can also go bad in a hurry. All right, we've struggled with the Pilchards here inside Government Cut, so we're gonna slide outside, check a couple places to the north and see if we can get lucky there. Before we run, one of the things I wanted to show you, if you look at this well here, we've got a custom-made, custom-fabricated lid that I just installed the other day. That is a really great lid because it pressurizes the actual bait well. And you don't want any airspace in the well because the water starts sloshing around, and that is just death for baits long term. So you see here, this has a type of lid right now, which normally the 100-gallon container comes with, where you can't pressurize the well, you get more sloshing. I left it like this intentionally to show you guys the difference. In another video, we're actually going to show you how to install this custom lid, so stand by for that. All right, so we're back at the dock. Fairly long day. We did pretty good on the Thredfin herring. Did not have any success finding the Pilchards, unfortunately, so they lived to fight another day, and we'll make another trip another day. But so now the next step is we've got all these baits that we've taken the time to really very carefully get them into the wells, de-hooked properly and all that. Now the next step is getting them into this large floating container here, which again, as you're doing this, because again, these herring in particular are such delicate baits, you want to really do it 1, 2 at a time at most, and just gently lay them in the pen, particularly if you're trying to keep them caged for longer periods of time. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure you remember to like, comment, and subscribe. The only thing that we could ask is that you just help us grow the channel. We want to reach more people. We're excited to bring these new videos every week on Thursdays for you guys. So make sure you tune in, check your notifications. Hey, if there's something specific you'd like us to cover, something you want to learn or something you want to see, hit us up. Throw a comment on one of the videos, or you can reach us at info@bluewatermovements.com. But until the next time, we look forward to seeing you next Thursday at Fish Blue Water.